I've been editing videos since 2018, and to this day, I've pulled millions of views on many individual videos, working with some of YouTube's finest. I used to struggle with the sound effects and sound design side of editing, but now I don't. So I'm going to show you how I approach my sound design workflow, both mentally and literally, so you don't have to struggle with creating good sound design. So yes, here's one of my videos from 2018. And here is a video with millions of views to show that I'm not lying. Yeah, like that's just, I guess, for proof to show you who I am. But I think before we want to learn, how to get better at sound design, we need to first break it down and go to the basics. Look at what is sound design, okay, and why do we use it? All of these different questions, and because this will help us make sense of it. This will help us, direct ourselves in a path where we can actually construct a solid framework and a solid workflow that we can enjoy and that we can, continuously build upon. Because otherwise, if you don't look to your foundations, if you don't look to understanding what it is in the first place, then you can never really get far. Okay, you can cope, but you can't get far. So first of all, we need to ask ourselves, what is sound design? Well, sound design is the intentional manipulation and arrangement of sounds to evoke specific emotions, enhance storytelling, and provide clarity in a given visual medium. Now, if that sounds like a bunch of yapper to you, it basically just means, we use it to, well, yes, bring out emotion in people and make sense and give life to, the things that we see on screen. So if you're creating any sort of motion graphic on your YouTube video, or even if, let's say you're editing a film even, or if you're editing like a short film or anything real, you want to add certain sound effects and Foley to help people make sense and, again, give life to that scene, to that sequence. And that goes the same with, even music. And music is also, brings out the emotion of people, and music is a part of sound design. Sound design isn't the amalgamation of all of your sound effects and your Foley. It's also, including your music. Yeah. And next we want to kind of think of, how should I approach them? Well, okay, firstly, let's ask the real questions, like, what is our goal with sound? And that sounds a bit silly, but, because we kind of just went over it, but, we want to make it sound realistic, okay? And I don't think, you can listen to this and say, oh, what is he talking about? Oh, yeah, just realistic. But, your work doesn't sound realistic at all. And it doesn't have to be like, you hear a sound effect and you think, whoa, I just thought that was outside. No, I mean, like, you need to convince your viewers that whatever action happens on screen feels like it could have actually happened. So quickly, I want you to do an exercise so you can understand your goal a little better. And it's going to sound silly, but I want you to do it. So what I want you to do is close your eyes. So don't pause the video, but just close your eyes and listen to me. And I want you to just listen. So whether you have headphones on or you don't have headphones on, and you're listening through the speakers, it doesn't matter. But close your eyes, because you should be, they should be closed by now. And just listen. What can you hear? Is your, computer being loud? Can you hear the fans? Can you hear your parents? Or can you hear, your roommate? Can you hear, something outside? Can you hear like your pets or, birds chirping? Perhaps you can even hear your breathing. Okay, if you're playing music, can you hear the music? Take in every single little sound, like no matter how relevant it is. If you can hear just about anything, just take a note of it. Take a mental note that you can hear it. Understand, acknowledge that you can hear it. And I want you to do this for just a little while longer. Okay, you can stop now. So now you've had your little session to hear. In fact, you probably heard my voice. You probably heard me drinking my coffee. So now I want you to think about everything that you just heard. No matter how relevant it was to, this video or to your current situation, you heard it. Okay? So as humans, every single day, we're always hearing something. Our brain chooses to filter out, but we can always hear something. Okay? And if it's too loud, if it's too distracting, then maybe we can't filter it out. But understand that we're constantly hearing noises. We're never not hearing something. Unless you're like in this, I guess, like underground sort of wooden box where you literally cannot hear anything. But I doubt you're in that situation right now. You can always hear something, point blank. So can your audience hear the exact same thing? Can they hear something every now and then, like whenever you decide to make a sound effect? Or is there legitimately sound every single time something happens? Because every single time something happens, whether I clap my hands, whether I slam the desk, or whether something that I don't do happens, it creates some kind of sound. And that goes for the same with like anything that you make. So this is two different timelines. And this is, you can see just like the same whoosh sound effect spams. And this was just me selecting, what I wanted to, what I wanted the people to hear. But that's not how it works. You don't just get to show them what they want to hear. Because it's the same thing with with real life. We don't choose what we get to hear. Okay? We hear shit whether we like it or not. Okay? And the same should apply here, because remember, this is what makes it realistic. And this is a timeline where I decided to have sound effects throughout the entire way. Okay, there's always some kind of sound somewhere, whether it's useless or whether it's some kind of sound effect. I always have sound somewhere. So understand that you can't just choose when sound happens. Okay? Sound doesn't just happen. Sound is supposed to be always there. Now, whether it's supposed to be something to focus on or something that they don't focus on doesn't really matter. Okay? It's just about, okay, does something happen? Yes or no? Okay? And then if you say yes, there's a sound that's going to be produced from that action or from that movement. And I want you to think of this visually, right? When something happens, something, some kind of sound needs to be made. And again, whether you make it quiet or loud, it doesn't matter. But there always needs to be some kind of sound somewhere throughout the entire time. Like, it cannot just be silent. Okay? There's always some kind of sound. And you need to think about, okay, if I move this layer, right? If I keyframe this layer to move so rapidly, it's going to make a sound, sure. Okay? But now I need to pick a sound, or at least I need to modify my sound so it's fitting, rapid and sudden movements requires rapid and sudden sound. I need the sound to mimic. I need it to help the viewers make sense of the visuals. Because otherwise, if one thing has a whoosh sound and another thing doesn't, it feels so unrealistic. If one thing has like some kind of crash impact sound and another thing doesn't, it's unrealistic. You're breaking this false reality, because the internet, YouTube, the online world, everything we look at is this sort of false reality that we build. YouTube videos is again false reality, but viewers get to enjoy it. Viewers get to be immersed when it feels the slightest bit real, which is what our sound effects do. They bridge the gap between this is just some fucking YouTube video and whoa, this is so cool, I can't believe I'm watching this, I feel like I'm right there. Okay? It helps bridge that gap to build this sort of false reality, which sounds very negative, but it's not. It's just how we build immersion. And, if you're one of those guys that wants to learn how to build up their retention tactics, this is this is gonna help you fuckloads. I'm sorry, I don't want to swear too much, but I couldn't think of any other word except fuckloads. Okay, this will help you a bunch. And when it comes to, oh, like, I don't know where to find my sound effects, I don't know, like, there's plenty of places online. This is the number one excuse that I hear for bad sound design. Okay, oh, I don't know where to find it. Oh, I can't, like, dude, there's plenty. I'll give you right now. Epidemic Sounds, Artlist, fucking Licked even, right? All of these places, they have places for sound. Hell, if you don't have sound effects, make your own. Well, you're probably sitting there thinking, well, you know, what the hell is he on about? What do you mean make your own? I mean, like, make your own. Like, you have a mouth that makes sounds, and make your own sound effects. And again, you can think I'm being silly, but I've done it myself. And I'm not going to show you the video, but there's a video of me making sound effects for a friend of mine who put it in a client video, and that client video ended up getting like millions upon millions of views. And we've done this countless times. Like, this isn't like a one-off thing. We did this countless times because he couldn't find sound effects at the time, and this was like a few years ago. And you probably think it's ridiculous, but there's no wrong way to go about things. Okay, if you can't find anything, if you truly believe you can't find anything, then make it, and you can still modify the sound. Because if you think that you can't, if you genuinely don't believe that you can, you know, you have a way out of this, then I hate to break it to you, pal, but, you know, obviously your skills aren't up to par, or you don't just believe in your skills. It's one of the two. Okay, and either way, by the end of this video, you should feel like you can approach sound how you want. So whether that's finding other sound effects, and whether that's making it your own, either way, you shouldn't have an excuse for having sound design look like this, where it's just the same sound effect spammed over and over again. Okay, because, you know, not everything, it just feels so fake. So I'm probably making plenty of points here, but all you really need to do when it comes to having good sound design is ask yourself a series of questions. So first of all, what variables do I have on my screen that could cause some sound? Any sound, doesn't matter. Remember that listening exercise we did earlier? There was always some kind of sound coming from somewhere. Therefore, it should be the exact same with your screen. Now, whether it's conscious, people can hear it, whether it's not, it's a whole different story. What you want people to focus on and what you want them to subconsciously hear is a whole different story. Okay? But either way, this is the first thing you need to ask. Second of all, you need to ask yourself, what kind of sounds will they make? Okay? What kind of action is happening? What is on my screen? And what kind of sounds will they make? So, do I just have like, is there like this still of, you know, let's say you have a computer on the screen. Well, the computer's probably going to make loud fan noises. And you can keep it on, you know. Again, loud, quiet, I don't care. You know, it's all down to you and what you want out of the video. But that's just, you know, that's just the sound that the computer will make. And number 3 is just, how do I want my audience to feel about this? So again, this is when that kind of volume and audio gain, and this is where all of it comes into play. So you pick, like, you know, what happens to cause a sound, what kind of sounds will it make, and now how do I want them to feel about the sound? So now let's say, for example, we take that PC. There's a PC on screen that we're putting in our video, and it's making fan noises. Now, do I want them to focus on the fans? Is the fans important? Are we talking about the fans? Well, you know, if we say yes, then yes, let's make it loud. Let's make it obnoxiously loud so we can point out the fact that there's a problem with this PC. It's got loud fans. Okay, and I'm just, you know, making up a scenario in which the video is about this. But, you know, let's say it wasn't. Let's say it wasn't about the fans. Then, no, we could probably still have the fans there, but don't make it loud enough where it causes too much attention, where it attracts the audience and thinks, you know, causes them to think, you know, why is this PC so loud? You know, the reason that we have, you know, levels of volume, the reason why we change our levels in volume is because we want our audience to focus on a specific thing. So, for example, if, you know, the reason that you would import music and then turn down the volume is because you want the music to sit in the background, but you don't want them to focus on the music, right? You want them to focus on the voice of the creator. Okay, so if I added music right now, quiet enough for you to hear it, but focus on me. People understand this. Like, a lot of editors understand this, but they won't do the exact same thing for their sound effects. You know, they won't make the conscious effort to bring some form, some sense of reality to their edit by including many sound effects that actually brings immersion to the scene, but they'll do it for their music. So apply that same principle to your sound effect, right? Edit it in a way where you know you can have all sorts of all sorts of outcome. You just got to think about, like, how do I want my audience to feel about this? Okay, that is the final question. And yeah, that is literally it.